Okay, so on this lesson of harmony hacks today, we're going to be talking about the dominant 7th chord and different ways you can use this to resolve to, in this case, a tonic or really to any chord. So without further ado, we're going to be in C major today. C major, the dominant 7 is G7. G7, that is the dominant 7. Use the chord charts to see what intervals I'm playing. Okay, all that was me playing the tritone that exists within G7, the tritone being B and F. The interval between B and F is a tritone. It's 6 frets apart or 6 half steps apart. So the tritone resolves to a major third interval going from C to E. So that is the tonic dyad, C to E. E is a major third away from C, C is our key. So that is why the G7 is thought to resolve to C in the most powerful way. It is because of the tritone resolving to the major third interval of C to E, or root to third within the tonic chord. Okay, so we're going to use that relationship of half-step resolutions in the chord substitutions to come. All I played there was a drop 2 voicing of G7, and I'm resolving to closed inversion C major triad. Those are the notes that resolve to each other. Okay, so the G7 chord exists in several different keys, depending on how you look at it. It exists in C major, but it also exists in G half-hold diminished. G half-hold diminished is an artificial scale that is symmetric in minor thirds, meaning whatever sequence of notes or chord or shape exists in a position on the neck or wherever you are on the guitar, it also exists 3 frets above and 3 frets below. Okay, that shape will exist 3 frets above and 3 frets below. And that is the case for G7. G7 exists in the G half-hold diminished scale, so it exists 3 frets above and 3 frets below, and any multiple of 3 frets above and 3 frets below. So all I did there was I played each half-hold diminished scale starting 3 frets above the last one I played. And when I switch positions on the neck, I'm really not thinking about what notes am I playing or what scale am I playing even. I'm just thinking about the shape I just played. The shape I just ran through for the G half-hold diminished scale, I'm just going to play the same shape up 3 frets, and then up again 3 frets, and then up again 3 frets, right? So there are 4 different chords that exist in the G half-hold diminished scale, or there are 3 other equivalent half diminished scales. So we'll see what those are really quick. G is the first one. E is the next one. D flat is the next one. B7 is the last one. The big thing to notice in what I just played is where those chord inversions exist relative to each other. So if you look at the chord maps that I made, just be mindful of staying on the 5th position. Where can you grab all of those chords in that same position? That will make your life so easy when you're trying to do chord subs. You'll find yourself playing a drop 2 voicing, and you can easily substitute it for a different chord to instantly make your progression way more interesting. The reason I moved E7 up to the next inversion, being 2nd inversion, is so that I can more easily show you why it resolves so well, and you'll see that next. Now looking at D flat 7. B flat 7. Again, the reason why I played the next inversion up, going from 3rd inversion B flat 7 to root inversion B flat 7, is to more easily show you how this resolves to C major. In this case, C major 7. This also applies to C major. So that is all of the cool chords that you can have from C major. This is also known as kind of like the Barry Harris dominant chords. Barry Harris is a jazz pianist. I'm not sure if he's still alive, but I'm aware of his theory that within any given key, say a major key, there are 4 dominant chords from which you can resolve back down to the tonic. And those 4 would be starting on G7, and then any multiple of a minor 3rd dominant chord away. So G7, E7, B flat 7, and I believe D flat 7. So you have 4 dominant chords from which you can resolve back to C. This is just another way to get to Barry Harris's chords. Barry Harris uses his own scale. It's an entirely different thing, and it's a concept that I really don't understand myself, so I just stick to this stuff. But harmony hacks. So, C Melodic Minor also contains G7. So does C Harmonic Minor. So there are different keys that contain G7. Also, D Melodic Minor contains G7. The reason for that you're going to see next, because in C Melodic Minor, back to C, in C Melodic Minor, there is a 2nd dominant chord that we'll be using to resolve back down to C. So highlighted in blue is the F7 in 1st inversion. I I'm playing root inversion F7 to show you again, F7 belongs to F half whole diminished, just like G belongs to G half whole diminished. Any dominant chord belongs to the root note's half whole diminished key. So, because of that relationship, we can move F7 up any number of minor thirds. What I just played there, when I recorded this video, I was not thinking about what chord am I going to play next. So what I was thinking about when I was playing those chords was I was thinking about where the fingerings exist relative to each other in the same position. That way I can just effortlessly grab the chords. I don't have to think too much about, what chord is this. You'll get used to what they sound like, what the resolutions sound like. They all resolve for kind of different reasons, and then from there you can make your choices as to which substitutions you want to do. So that's all I was doing there, is I was showing you in the same position relative to F7 where do all the other dominant chords exist. So that resolution is really cool. What's happening is the flat 7 and the tonic of F7. So that being E flat and F. E flat and F are both resolving to E right in the middle. It's a really, really cool resolution. Okay, for that last chord, the reason why I played root inversion and then first inversion and then I played a slash chord afterwards is because I did not like the way how the chord sounded when you resolve down. It just didn't have a very impactful feeling. And then when you're in first inversion, trying to resolve to the root inversion of C major 7, the first of G sharp 7 is B sharp, otherwise known as C, right? So C doesn't voice lead to C, the note that is the root in the bass of C major 7. So what I did instead was I resolved up a whole step to D and I played a slash chord. So I basically played, in my mind, I played first inversion C major 7, but I took the bottom note and I moved it down 2 frets. And in the end, what you get is a slash chord inversion there, and that is an entirely different lesson, but still good to touch on. Also, I sharpened the 5th of G sharp 7. I really just did that out of preference. I really like a sharp 5. On the dominant chord, I think it gives a very interesting resolution. Another quick little tip is including the flat 9 while you're still playing the root of a dominant 7 chord really allows you to take a lot of tension and resolve it. Jimi Hendrix is famous for using like an E7 flat 9, or in some cases an E7 sharp 9. Those both come from the altered scale and they're both fair game. You can even in that case include a flat 5 or a sharp 5 in there, and you're taking lots of tension, which is what the dominant chord functions well to do. You take all that tension of the dominant chord with all of its disgusting extensions and you resolve it down to home, wherever that is, whether it's a 2 chord going back to the 1, or it is the 1 chord. Doesn't matter, but I hope this has been insightful and you take these ideas and create your own progressions with them. Don't forget to sharp the 5 where you see fit. Okay, bye.